Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, the podcast for conscious parents, caregivers, and educators who believe tantrums aren't terrible. They are powerful opportunities for connection, growth, and learning during the first 5 years. You'll explore how to use intentional language to raise calm, confident, and deeply connected kids, because the way we talk to kids becomes how they see themselves and engage with the world. Hi, I'm your host, Cara Terrell, classroom teacher turned parent educator and teacher trainer. Are you ready to nurture your children's mind, body, and spirit? Welcome, Toddler Tribe. Let's transform the toddler years together. Welcome back, Toddler Tribe, to another episode of Transforming the Toddler Years. If you are watching on YouTube, then you're going to see that it's a very different format today. I am standing, I am holding the microphone, and I'm moving. I am swaying because there is a tiny newborn strapped to the front of me. So if that's an interesting image for you, then go on over and watch this on YouTube as well. The reason I mention that is that today I'm digging into one of the core linguistic concepts of the book, and it's coming out of the beginning of chapter 2. Speech is not language. What? Come on, Cara. That makes no sense, you might be saying to yourself. Well, let's dive in. And I want to start with a little story. This is just, I love how the world just aligns itself, right? All those divine downloads and all those opportunities for learning show up in my life so that I can translate them into my work for you. So yesterday, my husband is home at the moment. He is a contractor. He's not on a job site at the moment. So he is, working on our house. And he wears his noise canceling headphones for 2 reasons. One, sometimes the work he's doing is pretty darn loud, especially when he's right next to it. And 2, he can listen to audiobooks while he works. Win-win, right? So my daughter and I, she's an adult, we were sitting at the dining room table and having a little meeting yesterday. We have adult meetings all the time, which is great. Just so you know, parenting never ends. It changes. And she was having a moment. She was having a moment where what we were talking about was outside of her comfort zone. It was bringing up a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worthiness challenges for her. The idea of, could I actually do this? Or do I want to just shrink back into what feels safe? And when she has moments like that, her face gets very red and flushed, and her eyes squinch together, and her breathing visibly changes, throwing all the signals. And so my husband came up from the basement where he was working, walked by, kind of glanced and got curious, but kept moving. Just did a drive-by walkthrough. Walkthrough? I don't know. He noticed, but kept moving. And then later, that evening, when it was just the two of us, he said, I could tell very quickly that Claire was really upset, and I couldn't even hear the words coming out of her mouth. Speech is not language. He was picking up on all her different language cues. Now, in the book, I teach you 5 language links for comprehensive, meaning-based communication. And I want you to think about this for a second, because what I'm about to tell you might blow your mind. Chapter 2's title is The Power of 7%. 7% out of 100. That's a pretty small percentage, right? If somebody said you could use 7% of any one of your resources to make the most impact possible, how would you feel about that? You could use 7% of your bank account. Well, that's not a whole lot. 7% of your energy. That's not a whole lot. 7% is the percentage that represents language that comes through our words. That's it. Isn't that fascinating? You say so many words a day, and they represent a fraction of what you mean. The other 93% of your communication strategies with your kids, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your partner, with the person who is in front of you at the grocery store and taking an extraordinarily long time and cashing in 17 coupons and then making the person go back through the digital ticker and make sure they all came off. I've been that person before. I'm sorry. I'm not that person anymore. The majority of your communication with other people is nonverbal. All right, I've said it a number of ways. I'm going to say it clean and simple. Ready? 93% of meaning-based communication is nonverbal. 7% is verbal. That is some fancy math. So, as I've been doing on this little linguist series, I'm going to read you a small excerpt from the beginning of this chapter so that you can really get a sense for what this might mean as you start to notice, to observe, to pay attention to how you are communicating with the people around you. The Oxford Dictionary defines language as a method of human communication, spoken or written, consisting of the use of words in a structured and conventional way. If we take this definition at face value, we must accept that newborns, I have one right here, infants and toddlers do not use language with adults because they don't use spoken or written language. Fundamentally, we know this is not true. We know that newborns, infants, and toddlers communicate with us just fine. The little one that I have with me today, when I change her diaper, communicates with me by crying. That's her vocalization, right? Those are her words. Those are her 7%. I'm crying because I am not enjoying this. It doesn't feel good to my body. Okay. How else is she communicating with me? Her legs move up and back. Her arms are thrashing. That is body language. Her face gets really scrunched up and red. Those are nonverbal cues. They're facial expressions. Her energy gets heightened and more frantic. She's using more energy because what's happening feels hard for her. She's using all the language cues to comprehensively communicate with me. And she's 3 weeks old. 3 weeks. Imagine that when newborns are brought into this world, they have the communication tools they need to put together a comprehensive communication strategy. That's language. The true definition of language. And so what we explore together in this chapter is magic. Returning to a later part in that page. As an educator, a linguist, a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, an early intervention reading instructor, and a mom of 2 girls with very, and if my copy editor would have let me, that would have been all caps, very different language developmental journeys. I've spent decades dissecting both the verbal and nonverbal components of communicating with intention. And I've crafted my own definition of language. It is a comprehensive system of communicating that considers 5 factors when conveying meaning. This is the key with language. It has to match your intended meaning. My husband is also really infamous, maybe both, for using his subconscious brain, like the triggers to tap in, and tossing nasty faces at me. Eye rolls and like death glares and eyebrows that shoot to the sky when I say something. Now he is subconsciously reacting to triggers that he experienced as a child growing up, and I am pushing that trigger without realizing it, or sometimes with realizing it, because I want to have a conversation about it. And I call him out on it. And sometimes he's shocked. He just says to me, well, that's not what I meant. I think you're reading too much into it. It might not be what he meant, but this is what happens when we, as the receivers of somebody else's communication strategies, interpret them. We think that the eye roll means, oh my gosh, you're doing that again? That frustrates me. Knock it off. But what was really happening in his mind was completely different. I just triggered a subconscious visual reaction. That's it. That's not what I meant. So I call them the 5 language links. All of our language links have to match our meaning. Because kids, specifically infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, before they can talk, that's what their superpower is. Picking up on your nonverbal cues. And if you're shooting nonverbal cues at them that you don't even know you're sending, they're making meaning out of those at a deep level. That cycle starts to repeat itself at that subconscious level. So, what are we going to do about this? Well, that's why I wrote a whole book about it. But today, I just want you to walk away with kind of some self-reflection and some self-assessment questions. Become more self-aware around this. Does what I'm about to say, because honestly, the words that are coming out of your mouth, you hear those far more than you can reflect on your non-verbal cues, right? The power of 7%. Remember, that's this chapter. So when I use my 7%, does what I'm about to say help, number 1, foster connection? If that's a yes, great. 2, does it help develop a child's sense of self and early identity? 3, do my words advance emotional awareness and self-regulation skills? 4, do my words engage a little one's critical thinking? Does it turn on their brain and encourage them to use their early cognitive problem-solving skills? And do my words empower kids in early choice making? And then owning the natural consequences of those choices. I think you're starting to see already that although words represent a fraction, a small one, of our overall language and meaning base, they are powerful. All right. I am so enjoying this series and walking you one tiny but powerful piece of book through and through and through. This is going to be an exploration. And my prayer is that you grab hold of what you can right now Because there's no checklists of Yahoo, I mastered this in my book. There's not. There's not a mastery, and you should not expect that of yourself. Whether you are walking into early childhood classrooms, or you are a stay-at-home parent, or however you are the trusted adult in a young person's life, there's not mastery. There's only evolution of your skill. That's important. So whatever you grabbed onto today, great. Sit with it, marinate in it, allow it to grow in you. And then when you get a hold of the book in your hand, go back, right? And when you hit that chapter, something else is going to pop out at you because you will be at that next level and you'll be ready to add the next layer of the skill set. All right, Toddler Tribe, I'm here for you. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. And if you are somebody who is looking for personalized support and you don't want to wait, you're like, April 24th is just too far away and that's when the book comes out. I don't want to wait. Then please do use the link in the show notes and book a complimentary connection call and see if working together is the right answer for you. You know what to do. Stay mindful and proactive until the next episode of Transforming the Toddler Years.